You know, it's really funny right now. My camera seems to be focusing on my cat's ass. Now my cat's pointing her ass at me. Anyway, it's time for another of my Battle with Beelzebub videos. This is a talker. As I have mentioned before, for every talker I fill up a box of cans because they're cat food cans because they're everywhere in my house. And for every Battle with Beelzebub video, I get rid of 7 cat food cans and punctuate them with 7 points. Yeah, because I have cats, and I have a lot of cats, and I let the cats clean out the can, and in doing so, they wind up on the floor for an extended period. My house is trashed. The 7 points explain why, and, you know, that's my thing. But this video will discuss the overall bleakness of my situation. But let's get to the 7 points first. Okay, so I have them written down here. I've been depressed my whole life, and so I've struggled with cleanliness. I was injured helping another guard change a tire. This left a 5% bend in my spine, making it very difficult for me to clean my home. I had a fly infestation. Guys, stop it. That's why I call this my battle with Beelzebub, the Lord of the Flies. Okay. So I was cleaning my home to get rid of the flies. I mostly got rid of them when I wound up back in the hospital with an infection in my right hand. On finding myself in the hospital for about 5 days, my house was left to the ravages of my animals, and then and therefore, I returned to this utter mess that was my home, with cat poop everywhere, and it was almost impossible to walk. But the flies were still gone, so at least there was that. Anyway, so now this is my phase 2. Cleaning things up again, getting it done. Cat food cans are something of the bane of my existence, so yeah, getting rid of them is important. Although normally, if you not familiar with my videos, what I normally do is I gather a basket of the detritus from my home, and I sort it into trash, a recycling bin here. I have my redemption over here. And I basically just go through everything and whittle down all the garbage. And, you know, I'm making my way through my home. But one of the things that's kind of hanging over my head is that my home is owned by a trust. The trust, or the executor of that trust, is rather old, and she may die. And if she dies, my family wants to sell my home because it's theirs too, you know, legally speaking. And despite the fact that they've stolen more from me than the value of this home, they are like, okay, prove it. So it's a very bleak situation. And I calculated last night at work that even if I doubled my income, I would still not be able to save my home. You know, this isn't to say I'd lose everything. I'd sell the place and then I'd get 1/3 of its value, but one of the reasons why I've turned cleaning my home into a content-making exercise is, you know, to try and make the money to save it so that I could live here and rebuild and, you know, have things that work. Because it's one of those things, it's like, you know, I can pay my bills, but I can't save up enough money to have my bathroom redone, which is probably really expensive right now, you know, because of inflation. And I can tell you this much. I've seen what happens when you go cheap on repairs. It's not worth it. That's why I'm in the situation I'm in. So never going cheap on repairs again. You know, it's gonna need at least twice the money to do the job. Anyway. What, Leia? Anyway, so, you know, that's where I am in this regard. And So one of the things that I have to, my only chance to get this done is to do something. I've been kicking around the term for a while. It's called full production mode, which basically means I've got my home to the point where I can do as much work as I possibly can on my media like YouTube and blogs. And it's like, I tell you, last month, as I filmed this, not as I post this, I don't think, but last month, as I filmed this, was the best month in recorded history for my blog, Richard Reviews Everything. And the previous last best month was the month before that. And as I'm filming this month looks like it's going to shape up to be somewhere within the top 5. So, I mean, I'm really, in terms of my media, I'm making more than I've ever made before. It's just, it's not anywhere close to enough. So what does this mean, this concept of full production mode? It means that, obviously I have both of my computer workstations running. One of them is one where I render, the other one is one where I draft. I'm going to sit at that second one to read my books, and then I have to have my garage cleared out because I'm going to start doing workout videos, so on and so forth, until finally, it's like basically you're looking at this maximum output, and, I have to clean everything up to get there. So that's one of the things that you have to take into account as I do this, is that every day this isn't done is a day that I'm not working on something else. So the pressure is mounting for me to really get this done, And there was a comment on one of my videos from a very good friend of mine who said, next video, can you do 5 points of something that you're thankful for? Or 7 points of something that you're thankful for. And it was like, no, I can't, because I've already filmed the next 20 videos in this series. I don't do these every day. I am not going to conclude my day with having removed a basket or a box of cans from my home. I'm going to go and I'm going to make another video. And I tell you this much, as we speak, my computer is in the other room rendering a video for what will be last week or 2 weeks ago when I filmed this, And I got a pot of coffee on. It's morning. It's almost 7 o'clock in the morning for me as I film this video. And I intend to be working until 6 o'clock tomorrow morning, at which point I will leave for my doctor's office. Okay? So that's where I am. Gotta get this done. Anyway, I'm Richard.
Background courtesy of Photographs of a Mad Richard. Link in the description.
Alright, ladies and gentlemen, if all is going well, I should be surrounded by a horde of flies. They're not actually in the room with me, but they are flies that did actually live in my house and are now long dead. I used a combination of fly traps like this one, you can see it's covered in them, and actually cleaning up to get rid of them. It was a dark moment in my life. A life full of dark moments.
Danger Ducky spots you. Try to leave without leaving a comment. That's just not right. Don't forget that like button and share this with all of your friends.